Welcome to Handcrafted by G.R. Broussard. I'm Greg Broussard, and today we have this little nightstand that needs some attention. You see the base of this is cracked almost all the way through. All these screws and everything is loose. We have to figure out how this is attached in here. All the joints are loose. I think the only thing that's tight are the aprons, if that's what they're called on a nightstand. I know what kitchen table they are. So these cabriolet legs, they look like they're in good shape. Now these are broken. The feet, all the feet are broken. You can see this used to come up higher. You can see where the dirt is and the nail's broken off there. And all of them, here's a nail hole for the other one. So I don't know how to cast yet. If I did, I would make new feet and figure it out. But seeing how I don't know how to do that yet, I'll clean these up. The top of it has got this one repair here and the other repair here, where the boards were glued together to make the tabletop. So that's what we have. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to flip it upside down, label everything, and then disassemble. It appears that there was something screwed in the bottom of this. There's holes on each corner that are spaced evenly. So a hole here and here. So maybe something was screwed on the outside of this. I don't know. Oh, there we go. It's held together. Forgot to mark this. I'm gonna have to mark this real fast before I lose my warning. Yep. There it goes. It definitely was repaired before. There's glue inside the joint, and I'll show you how we're going to fix that. We got the same type of repair on the top of the table we have to do. We got to get that glue off. Whoa. There we go. The only thing I think that happened in taking it apart was this dowel broke on there, broke in here. I'm not sure if these are going to fit back, in there anyway, tightly. They may have to be re-drilled and re-doweled. These dowels seem to fit pretty decently back into the legs. The aprons do. This will probably have to be taken off and redone. I'm not really sure on this. Got to play with this for a little bit and see how I'm going to do this. Hopefully I can just scrape that off and it'll work. But other than that, that's what we got to do. During the repair, the last repair, and there's some glue squeeze out here, and I need to get rid of that. So what I have to do is I have to match these perfectly so it's seamless kind of repair. And the way that I do that is I get the tabletop like this, and I flip them together, and I'll put it in the vise. Just pretend those are aligned, and I come back with a plane and I plane those together at the same time. And then when you open them back up, they'll be a perfect match, because if the plane shifts one way or the other, it's the same on both parts, so they marry nicely. But I can't squish them together at the top because there's a little glue there, so let's get rid of that and let's plane it, and then get rid of that old glue, and then we're going to do the repair, let the glue dry, and then go back and we'll strip it. We're going to card scrape this little glue off. I'm going to hold it down with a holdfast. If you're not familiar with what a holdfast does, it's just basically to hold a part down, and it goes in this little hole, and then when you hit this, you can watch this flex and spring out. And then now that part is held down, and now we can card scrape this off. I know my hand's going to be in the way, but I just want to get rid of this little bit of glue right here, so it'll go together the best I can get it. This other one doesn't look like it has glue on the, on the top surface. Now it should be able to lay flat like that. We're gonna plane this now. I'm gonna get my top, close it, and then inside here is leather for gripping purposes. And then I gotta line these parts up. So what I do, since I'm by myself, I had somebody hold this for me. I have to line it up the best that I can when I get it in the vise. I don't tighten the vise down a lot. I just do it a little bit. And then I can come through with my little hammer and I can adjust so they're perfectly lined up. So when I put them together, the two parts won't be off from each other. It looks about right there. I want them to be level, not like, not one up or one down. Now I'm gonna tighten it up. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna open this up. It should be flush together. Just open it up like the tabletop, like you're sitting on it. And then there should be a seamless, look at that. It's going to be beautiful. That worked perfect. If you're not familiar with the way these leg vices work, the one that I just held that part with, it's got this screw that goes all the way through. Here, there's the screw down here, and back underneath here is the other side of that receiving part of the screw. And you have, this is called a pin board, and you have this dowel that you can move. Say I have a smaller part to do, and what I'll do is I'll get this dowel and I'll screw it in. That's about 2x4 width right there, and I'll put the pin back in. And what this does is it allows the top to close, so this pin stays in there, and as you tighten it, this part stops on that dowel, and then the top starts to close, right? So you can clamp something really long in here. And the reason why it's off-centered like that is so you can get long pieces like this, clamp it, and it goes down past that screw. The screw won't get in the way of it now. And then you can get a hold fast, put a hold fast in here, and also clamp the board while it's down in there, so you have a really good hold. And the leather's in here for more grip. It started to slip on me, so I put that leather in there and it works. Well, I did, and a friend of mine put this in there for me, and it works perfect. I've got to put my little marks on here, but I got to make sure that this thing does not move at all, because I don't want it to be off on the corners right here. So I'll mark this. Where's my little hammer? Okay. I'm going to dowel this. I'm going to mark it where I want the dowels at. And the dowels aren't really for strength so much as lining the part up when you glue it. Okay, marked it. Can't see that on camera, but I marked it with a little pencil. And we're going to use what we call a dowel center. There's a little bitty mark right up in there. And I'm going to line that up with my mark that I put on my piece, and I'm going to tighten this down, and then this automatically centers it on the piece. And then there's these little guides right here. There's different sizes of them that comes with it. And I had to make that box because nobody makes decent carrying cases anymore. And then I drill down in here, and that'll put that hole exactly where you want it. And the blue tape is my desktop. So there you go. That's how that deal works. Now I've got the holes drilled on this side. Now I got to put the matching holes on the other side. So you can see the mark on the tool. And then there's a little mark, it's hard to see because of light, but there's a little mark on the piece of wood, and this centers itself on there. So this should match, the part should match now. So when I bought this thing, it came in a plastic case, which it just fall apart. So I made this box just to hold this tool, You can put everything in there and you can slide this little top on, and the top keeps the stuff from moving around. So you flip it over and roll it around. Everything stays in its compartment where it's supposed to. I tell you what, packaging really sucks nowadays, but anyway, that's what that's for. We've got the holes in there, right? They hopefully will line up, but we got to dowel it. And all dowels aren't created equal, and all drill bits aren't created equal. So these fit really tight in there, and there's too tight. If I were to hammer that in there, I'd probably break this apart. So we don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get my depth, what I need, how deep the holes are, measure this, cut it long, put it in drill, sand it so it will fit smoothly in the hole, and then we can glue this up. I get the depth of the hole so it's that deep, and then I back off, I come up, I make it a little shallower so it's not all the way to the bottom, and I'll check this side to make sure it doesn't bottom out. Okay, so I know my dowel needs to be twice that distance, twice this length to fit in there. I know the shadows are bad. That's one distance, and I just move it in and I just kind of eyeball it. So I need 2 dowels that length. Well, that took a minute, but I think this is going to be fine. The reason why that there's a kind of a lip there is because the varnish is still on there. That should go away. I put the cauls on to clamp this so the board doesn't, this side doesn't go up or down, or this side doesn't go up or down, you know, kind of one of these numbers, you know, kind of bow or cup or whatever it's called, you know, this deal. So we'll let that dry. Let's go to the next part. Well, that's a bad idea. I should have stripped it first. I should have known better. Now, the brand new sandpaper I put in here is burnt. And I don't think I can get that off. I'm going to try to get that off real quick. Let's see if that worked. This is a sandpaper cleaner offer. Instead of chemically stripping the top of this, I'm just going to use the orbital, and then we'll strip all this other stuff with the chemicals. Before I sanded the top and the bottoms, I took my tape off with my numbers on it, transferred it to the edge so I knew it wouldn't come out, come off on the edge when I sanded it. Now I transferred the numbers from there to the bottom in 2 different locations on all 4 corners. So now when I strip this, this will come off, but I'll still have my locations on the bottom. I went ahead and sanded the bottom shelf, same as I did this. I don't know what this is, what kind of wood this is. It kind of looks like pine, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows, let me know what this is. This is mahogany. So I'm going to go ahead and use a stripper, strip this down. I've transferred all my marks on all these parts. I'm going to work on this little section right here. And in the magic touch at the end, I used 4/0 steel wool. After I went around this 4 times and wiped it really good in the crack with a paper towel, I use 4/0, and I come in here and I clean up all this stuff around the corners, and it fits into the contour of these little areas. And that's the way I do it. Sure somebody's got a better way or a different way. I'm just proceeding with stripping parts, sanding them down to get them ready for reassemble. And right now I'm just sanding the cabriole legs right now. It's gonna look really good. We started electrolysis on the little, the feet that go on the piece of furniture. I put it in a wire brush and I put it in the drill press, and that didn't work. I tried stripping it with the stripper, that didn't work. So now we're doing electrolysis, and you can see the bubbles coming up. I also had other parts from a plane that I put in there. Look at this one. So what's going to happen is that's going to take all that crud and corrosion and put it on these electrodes. I've got a negative feed here, a positive feed here. I'm running it through, I think this comes from an LED pack, LED lights, and it's 12 volts and 5 watts that I'm running through right here. You can also use a battery charger, but this is how I do it. I've got a tank that's 10 gallons. Well, I put 10 gallons of water in it. I thought that was ridiculously big for these small parts. So while we do the rest of the furniture, we're gonna let this sit all day long. The noise you hear in the background are the yard guys out there. I had to change the water twice already, and I took my plain parts out and I buffed these one more time on the wire wheel. So this is the 3rd batch of water. These are going a lot faster than I thought. I'm hoping that this will work. I also moved them closer to the little metal things, the diodes or whatever these officially called, I don't know. But it looks like this is gonna work. I'm hoping this will work. I've never had this issue before, so we'll see. Okay, I just unplugged this, and this water is really, really dirty. I think this is pewter. I don't know if this is brass. I was starting to shine the bottom of it. Yeah, that's pewter. So look at that now. So we'll take them all off, wash them off, get all this hydrogen peroxide, nasty water slime out of here. It's got a little paint left on that one. Then we're missing one. Here it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and wire brush these. This dowel has broken out when I had taken it apart, and it should be out like that, and it isn't. And I'm hoping I don't have to replace all of these. So instead of using, this is my dovetail saw, this doesn't have as fine as teeth as this Japanese pull saw. So I'm going to use this to cut this dowel down, and then I will replace this dowel with another one. I know the saw is going to be in the way in this direction. There we go. Now I can drill down in there. It looks pretty dang close. And we'll drill down right there with a brad point bit. I lined this thing up the best I could with a square off the off this clamp. I got my depth set, and if I can put that tip of that drill bit in my hole without this thing flopping around, hopefully it'll be successful. Let's go down to my depth, which is right about there. Okay, I think that we're successful. Good. Before I put the dowel in there, I'm going to clean up the old glue that's on here, so the new glue can stick to some good, nice exposed wood. I'll have to clean up the glue on all the parts on the entire table. This is the leg that the dowel broke out of, and this goes right here, right? So, and there's the dowel right there that this piece will go into. So we're gonna drill that side now. So I'm afraid if I start drilling in here, this is the brad point bit, I'm gonna use this so I can start like a little hole. I think this is gonna start wandering around when I start drilling in there. So I'm gonna get, I'm gonna take this back a little bit, this dowel, and use something to hammer with, just so I can expose something that's not, you know, all chewed up, and I can have some sort of clean start for the bit to go into, and then we'll drill that. Okay, I'm gonna put this in my little jig that I made I use for little parts and whatnot, and hopefully it'll go right where I marked it. It looks like it is. There it goes, past the chatter. You go to my depth, and that should be my depth. Let me check. Took me a little while. I had to go back and do this hole a couple times and make another dowel. I'm nervous that I'm going to drill too far through this leg. So the way I measure my dowel is I just put my caliper in there, and I get the distance of this hole, and I mark it on a dowel, get the distance of this hole, and mark the dowel, and I'll know how far that I need to put it in. So I need to put this dowel into this hole up to that line, so I know it won't be too long. If it's too long, you stick it in there, it won't be flush, it'll be popped out a little bit. So that's a real pain when that happens. So let's glue this one into this part here, and we'll put a little glue in the hole, and put this glue down, and okay. There we go. Now let's clean this up, and then now that'll go in there. So this dowel is fixed. Now for the other three, I'll come through and I'll get all the old glue off the dowel. And if I scrape this too much, it won't fit into the leg properly. So I just want to scrape the glue off and really not change the size of the dowel, because I'll have to do the same process, take the dowel out and replace the dowel. So I'm going to get all this old glue out, and I've already got the number marked on the other side. So I'll know where this goes exactly. We're in the original spot. So I'm going to scrape glue, and we'll move on. Well, I've got them all cleaned up and they fit in. I did cut another dowel. This is the dowel that's all messed up that came out of this one, and I replaced that just like I did the other one. So now two dowels have been replaced, and I'll stick it in there and it'll fit fine. So now, next part that we have to do is clean the glue off these joints here. I've got to get inside these holes and get the glue out of there. And I put this in my leg vise. This is the great thing about having a leg vise that's at an angle like this, is your longer parts can go clear and go all the way down here when you have long parts like this leg, and it misses the screw. The screw is right there, and you can pass that screw and go all the way down without that interfering. Unlike this vise, which is awesome, it'll hit the screw, you know, right there. So anyway, that's what's cool about having this, and of course the leather's in there to keep it from sliding and damaging everything. So anyway, let's get this out right here, the glue out of those holes. So I've cleaned up all the aprons, and the aprons will go in these holes. However, I have to clear these holes out, and the way that one of the methods that I use is, this is a saw blade, and it's sharpened on each, it's sharp right on the edge of it. I sharpened it like a card scraper, basically, so I can go in and just scrape the glue out with this card scraper glue now removal tool. So we're going to use this method, and we're going to get in there. We're going to scrape all this old glue out. I can see glue in there. And then the little burr that I put on the inside of this tool, this old saw blade, will scrape that old glue off the inside of that hole. And it'll expose the wood for a good glue up when we put our apron back in here. It'll be a wood-to-wood surface, so it'll be nice and secure. It's assembly time. I've got everything oriented the way that I need it. I've got all my marks here oriented where this would pick up and set on this. I've got my marks oriented here in the corners, and also have my legs oriented so I can just pick a leg up, and then this one will go here, and then this one will go here, and you know, just go around. Like using these little deals here, I just drill holes in a piece of scrap and I put my glue in there, and then it's easy to get to it, and I can just spread it around. I just use this as like a little cup kind of thing. Where's we go? Just take a glue, just easy to break a hole. Break a hole and spread it with the glue. There's glue spreading there, spreading around the glue. I guess it's spread, I think. There we go. There's some. I've got all the glue squeezed out from everything, so it looks real good. We're going to sit there and let this thing dry for a little while, let everything set in, and I think this is going to work out real nicely. We'll just let the glue dry, and then we'll do one quick little sand over the whole thing. We'll attach the top and stain and clear and deliver. It's going to be really pretty. It's been about an hour and a half or so, and we're going to take all this stuff off. Looks pretty good. Got all the glue out of the cracks. Thing is super stable now. I'm going to go ahead and put the top on and do one quick last little sand, and we'll stain it. I've made sure that everything's oriented the way that it was when I took it apart. So all these should be exactly the same. Now one last little quick sand. Make sure everything's cleaned up. We can put stain on this. And we got the little feet that go on there. It's going to look really good. We're using Minwax Red Oak number 215 for this project. And we're just going to apply it with paper towel and take it off with a paper towel. This is mahogany on top. It's going to look really nice. Well, I forgot to turn the camera on, but I went ahead and sprayed it with shellac, and it's completely dry now. It's the next day. I'm coming back with 600 grit, and I'm going to lightly sand this with 600, and then we'll spray one last time with some more shellac. So I'm just going to very lightly come through here and get all the little bumps off from that last coat. You know, after sanding this with 600 grit, I thought about something. I think what I'm going to do is use wool lube and some water, some steel wool, and I think I'm going to have the surface finished that way. It gives it a nice buttery type of look, and you just apply water and a little bit of the lube on your steel wool on the steel wool lube. And this will give you a nice surface and smooth this out. It'll be perfect. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Just wipe this off. I think it's out already. There we go. It's time for the feet. And this one will be done. We've completely finished the piece now. We completely took it apart, fixed everything, stained it, put the shellac on it. We put the wool oils on there, the wool lube to clean all this up, make it nice and smooth. We'll let this cure for a few days and deliver it to a happy customer.